is knocked out. This is a King of the Hill format, so the way that it works is that the players will play until they lose, and then another player from that team will come forward to take their spot. So from Team Pulse, we have Hayata coming out, who is a
Hayata.
Zerg player. We do not have a bio for him, unfortunately, and we're going to continue on with Protect. So this will be a TVZ that we will be seeing now. Let's see if Protect is going to be able to continue the lead, the early lead that StarCraft Ascension has taken, and or if Team Pulse is going to be able to come back and tie it up.
It's a PVZ.
PVZ?
Yes, you're correct. PVZ.
Oh, I'm sorry. PVZ, you're right. Protect is playing Protoss.
So, oh yeah. I was thinking you were going to come out with a bio for Protect, but I forgot that we already read his, so...
That we did.
We are all set to get started in this game. Go ahead and, follow SC2CTL to keep in touch with us and know when all future casts are coming up. Also, give Das Keyboard a follow for sponsoring this awesome league.
Yeah, let them know that you saw the stream, enjoyed it, and that you are supporting their business for supporting esports.
Absolutely, and we are ready to jump right into Game 2. Getting right on into it, up in the upper right-hand corner, we've got our Zerg. He is wearing the red trunks today. He's going to be Hayata, coming out for Pulse to see if he can take a game back.
And in the lower left-hand corner from Team StarCraft Ascension, Team B, seeing if he can continue the early lead that he has taken for his team, it is Protect.
Trying to see if he can protect that lead.
Wah, wah.
So, PVZ, been definitely my favorite matchup lately.
I heard that you have been doing pretty well against Zerg lately.
I did. I finally beat a couple. Amazing. A couple really awesome people I know got me some grubby coaching that's finally starting to pay off.
And Grubby is quite the cool cat.
Absolutely. Probe's going to be doing a very early scout. Put down that pylon. It's an early scout, but it's a fairly early normal scout. Definitely always want to scout after the 9 pylon to see the spawning pool timing, to see if it's a 6 pool or earlier, and you can also know then whether if you're obviously the pylon going down on the outside. He's planning to do Forge Fast Expand, but is it going to be Nexus first or is it going to be Forge first? He's going to come in and see no pool. This means there's likely going to be a pool coming up either immediately or it's going to be a hatch first.
I'm guessing a hatch first at this point. No, I'm wrong. He's going for the pool.
15 pool, fairly standard. If I was Protect, I would now be having a very hard decision of whether to put down that Nexus or Forge, but probably opting for the Forge. Depends on what his balls are made of, steel or otherwise. Looks like he is clicking near the area of the Nexus, so he's probably going to be going for a Nexus since his mineral's getting high as well. He did bring 2 probes just in case one wasn't enough.
You never know.
So it is going to be Forge first. I'm sorry, Nexus first. Probed here doing some nasty harassment, preventing that hatch going down, but Hayata does get it down eventually. That probe giving a couple last little zaps to it just for good measure.
Forge is now going down at the base of the ramp at the natural.
Pool's going to be popping. A couple paths you can go from here. Lately, it seems like the strongest, for me at least, has been going into the Stargate with a couple Phoenix right away, just to be a good scout and also to try and just push back the thoughts from the Zerg of doing mutas, because mutas are not fun to deal with as Protoss. So Protect does go back in the base to get a little bit of a gas timing scout. He's going to see no gas going down, so we can possibly expect a third base coming down. Overlord is
Hayata sending his Overlord over into the natural, knows those timings well enough to know that it's safe to do that. The cannon will not be up at this point.
It will be shortly, though, if he keeps that Overlord parked there.
Yeah, it looks like he looked away and is not paying attention to it. So he may end up losing that just for using his attention in other places.
It is going to be a quick third hatch as the drone is patrolling here, waiting for some appropriate monies to build the hatch. Zergling's coming around to make sure there's no shenaniganry going on behind it. That Overlord is going to end up being killed by that cannon easy peasy as it was taking a break. Hayata apparently did not intend for that to happen.
Yeah, that does hurt. Losing those Overlords early in the game is definitely going to slow you down quite a bit. being supply blocked for no reason is never a good idea.
It looks like Hayata is changing his mind here. He had the drone over here, but he's now pulling him back. His money was really high, going up to 500, but he's going to be producing Queen and a lot of drones. Obviously, something happened that told him that it was not a good idea to do that third base. Still no gas coming down from him yet, though, so I'm wondering what his transition is going to be here. As that probe does just eke into the main base, the second Queen's going to pick it off before it can see anything else. Obviously looking to see what tech structures or gas was going down.
And interestingly enough, Hayata has not mined any gas yet.
Nope. We're going to have more drones. Lots and lots of drones. For as many drones as he's producing, I would have thought a third base, but he is going for the 6 minute. This is interesting. This is a Stefano build. This looks like the it looks like a heavy 2-base roach push is what it looks like, because they both gas coming down at exactly 6 minutes. So I would be definitely not surprised if I see a heavy roach swell here at about 8 or 9 minutes. No roach warren yet. Surprised I haven't seen that. Looks like he's moving his drones into gas, as Protect is doing fairly standard things. He's just getting gateways and some sentries up to defend in the front. Going to be stacking up the energy on those that leaves those hallucinations. Clearing out the potential third base of Zergling so that he can expand there eventually. More Queens, more drones coming in for Hayata. He is producing his third and fourth gas at his natural. This is going to be a really strong push here when he actually gets something going down. He has 2 Queens sitting at both bases, using the one at his natural for creep.
We do see Lair going out now, and Stargate is coming down from Protect as well, so not a lot of aggression coming out from these guys. They're both choosing to play it fairly macro heavy. I'm not sure why Hayata did not put down that third base, given the condition that both players are in right now.
My guess at this point would be Mutas. I mean, by now he would have had a roach warren down at least and been producing some roaches, but given the fact that he's mining 4 gas, has no other structures besides spawning pool, it's got to be an instant spire as soon as this layer finishes.
Well, we will see momentarily, as that layer is going to be finishing up in less than 30 seconds.
If that is his choice, though, he's going to be facing a lot of Phoenix here, it looks like, from Protect, as he's producing them out of his Stargate now. But really interested to see what this layer finishes. I almost guarantee you it's going to be Spire at this point. It looks like he does have this drone selected. What's he going to do with it?
It does look that way. There is a hallucinated Phoenix coming out, so it is going to get some vision, and it may actually get in there.
Infestation pit.
Oh, interesting. So Swarm Host?
Swarm Host? It's got to be Swarm. I've said it's got to be 3 things now, but it's got to be Swarm Host. This is a real thin defense from Hayata. I'm really impressed that he's done this. I mean, Protect hasn't gotten a ton of information from him. If we look at his vision, I mean, all he's seen is 4 spine crawlers going down the front and a pool. He's still only seen 1 of the gases. He doesn't know how many units are out. He could really be against anything. This is Protect really should be being a bit more aggressive. He's going to finally get a hallucinated Phoenix in here to see what's up. He's going to see no units, double gas, mining 3 out of each, single pool, no roach warren, and he's got his queens stacked up in the back. He does not want him to see that infestation pit, and he hasn't seen it yet either. This is going to be a huge surprise of Swarm Host for him.
And, you know, both players playing very bare bones at the moment. You know, if Protect had made any number of units whatsoever, he would have been able to do some damage in the very early game, as there were no Lings and no speed even. Or, I'm sorry, there were no other units besides Lings and no speed. So it was pretty hairpin defense there. But he did have a lot of good vision, so he was able to see if anything was about to move out.
We've got a Nidus here.
Interesting. Those Phoenix are getting ready to do some move in, maybe picking off some overlords on the outskirts of the base. This is going to be pretty interesting.
Those Phoenix did see the Swarm Host pop, and they did see them climb into the Nidus along with the Queen, so Protect is going to know what's up.
They are running back to base.
Protect also he just got his Colossus tech down. He's producing a Colossus and a second Robo. He knows he's going to need those Colossus up ASAP. This is going to be a thin defense against Swarm Host for Protect. I'm pretty scared for him right now.
But the Swarm Hosts aren't burrowed in one. Oh, he dropped it. Oh, because he was going to
doesn't matter. There's so many Queens there. Those Phoenix don't have a chance of doing any significant damage. Hayata had with a really cool play here.
So many Queens, Spore Crawlers going down, Spine Crawlers. There is an Overseer, and the Queens are just dealing huge damage. Oh, great transfuse on that Overseer.
Wow. This is
One
literally if
swarm
Protect would have done anything at all to
Great
pressure.
transfuses, just dealing tons of damage to those Phoenix, and the Phoenix are kind of feeling a little bit helpless right now. As the Locusts are moving forward, doing damage, taking out cannons.
More
I mean, what do
Swarmhouse
you
being
do
produced.
right now? What do you do in Protect situation here?
You lose is what you do. I mean, he doesn't have the things he needs. He's only got one Colossus. The second one will be coming out here shortly, but these force fields are going to only hold these Locusts off so long. You need 4 Colossus to really take these Locusts down, but both players are playing so thin. I'm really surprised Protect doesn't have a lot. He does have a large mineral bank here, but
We do see a small force of Zealots going across the map, seeing what kind of damage that they're going to be able to do to the minerals. They are going to be greeted by 4 Spine Crawlers and Queens, though.
Yeah, that's just not going to get a whole lot done. Both players played so thin, and Hayata was really able to get out his big army, but I mean, Protect left him alone. I mean, what are you going to do as a Zerg that's completely left alone? But he obviously knows his timings, because this was very... He made a clear decision when he saw Protect's base, and he decided to not go for that third and go straight for Swarmhouse and lots of them.
There are 3 Colossus out on the field, so he's going to be trying to do some damage. Extended Thermal Lance is about 50 seconds into its research. A third base from Hayata going in the top left to more easily reinforce his sieged up position in the middle of the map outside the natural.
I'm just not sure what Protect is going to do here. Thermal Lance is still only half done. He's producing 2 Colossus at a time now, so eventually he's going to be able to hold off these Locusts, but he just doesn't have a ground army to protect these Colossus once he is able to push out. I mean,
And look at
Hayata
that.
could literally replenish with anything. He's only made Swarmhost and Queens at this point, which is pretty impressive, because usually you have some Roach Hydra to back it up.
But I mean, with those numbers of Swarm Hosts and Queens, do you really need something to back it up?
Oh, here comes the Spire. That's going to be his choice to back it up. Probably Corruptors to deal with the Colossus, but man, I mean, usually as Swarmhost, I mean, you do need something to back it up. One of those Colossus is going to take heavy damage. He's going to try and micro it back to save it, and he's going to be able to protect it, but yeah, he's got him under heavy siege here, and Protect isn't going to be able to do a whole lot. Hayata's bases are pretty well protected. But yeah, as this Colossus number grows, he's now going to be able to keep these Locusts at bay, as he's still producing 2 Colossus at a time. I think a bit of a... If Protect ends up losing this, the reason is going to be he made too many Colossus.
Yeah, those Corruptors are going to be a beautiful decision with the number of Colossus that are coming out on the field. And it almost seems that he's a little bit charged. He's just kind of, hitting the Colossus button, trying to produce as many as he can, trying to just do anything against what's sitting outside his base.
Yeah, what he needs to be doing is get up to about 5 or 6 Colossus, which he has right now. These 2 that are in production he doesn't need. He needs to be teching to Zealot Charge and Storms and Archons. That's going to be the thing that would help him to push out of this.
Right there.
And the Spire's now just going to be finishing. I'm expecting that a bunch of Corruptors are going to be made to deal with these Colossus. More Swarmhosts being produced. Still, armor upgrade now going down for Hayata as well. 2 Colossus still continue to be produced. He's got nothing but Colossus right now.
1 Colossus goes down and starts attacking Queens, but that is not going to be a winning fight, I don't think. Transfusing the Queens because he can.
7 Zealots did get warped in. They're going to be pushing up here at Hayata's natural, but they're just not going to get anything done because there's so many spawn crawlers.
Absolutely. And those Locusts are moving forward. Time Warp goes down. Another Colossus falls.
He's at now 8 Colossus. I mean, this is Protect, I think, thinks maybe he's just not used to seeing this build. This is way too many Colossus. I mean, he can defend the Locust all day just fine with this, but when Hayata transitioned into literally anything, he's going to be caught with his pants down.
Well, the problem is that Protect keeps losing some of these Colossus, though. There's just so many Locusts that even though he's getting huge damage on them, some are still getting through. And when you're dealing with units that cost money against units that are free, you can lose as many free units as you want as long as you're occasionally taking down something that costs money.
Yeah, the problem is he doesn't have anything to protect the Colossus. He needs some Zealots, he needs the Storms, he needs the Templar, he needs the Archons to tank for him and then be able to push out, because he never gains any ground. You can have infinite Colossus and kill the Locust just as fast, essentially. But by the time you kill them, there's another batch that are coming in that you can't push out and then, push these Swarm Hosts back.
Oh my goodness, the Locust numbers are just huge.
And, since he's given Hayata essentially free reign of the map at this point, Hayata is just producing more and more Swarm Hosts, so,
Well, Hayata's trying to, or Protect is trying to use his minerals to make some Zealots, and he's using a back a roundabout way to get to the bases. He's trying to find anything that he can do. He does have a large force of Zealots here, but he's going to be greeted by a huge force of Spine Crawlers. It's not clear whether he's going to make much damage happen, but these Locusts continue to push into his natural.
He does have a couple Swarm Hosts here at his natural, too. Looks like 3 of them now. These Zealots are going to get to chew through the Spine Crawlers, but the Swarm Hosts are going to be able to eventually push them off. I mean, this is just not looking good for Protect. There's nothing he can do about these Swarm Hosts out here.
And it seems almost as though Hayata's decided at this point that the Swarm Hosts and Queens are working just well enough for him, and he's having a great time, so he's not going to switch to Corruptors, it looks like. And why would he with these, geez, these Locusts? Yeah. I mean, it's a giant number.
Hayata's now at 41 Swarm Hosts.
You know, it almost feels like he's just kind of having fun with this game at this point. He's not really doing anything to necessarily, you know, put the final nail in the coffin.
Well, the thing is, he sees exactly what Protect is doing. He knows Protect is making nothing but Colossus at this point, so he has no reason. I mean, he made that Spire as backup, I think.
Well, I mean, Corruptors at this point, granted there are a lot of Phoenix on the field, but Corruptors would chew through those, and then your Swarm Hosts are free to do whatever they want.
Yeah, but, you know, you wouldn't theoretically, in general, be making this many Colossus, but the fact that he's made this many Colossus actually has led him to the problem that he has, that there's so many Swarm Hosts, because he hasn't been able to push out. So therefore you need more Colossus, which sounds like a bit backwards of a thing, but the more Colossus you build, the more Colossus you need, because you're not moving out to do anything against your opponent. Either that, or, you know, maybe earlier in that play, cut one of the Colossus and make a Warp Prism and put down a Dark Shrine. And I mean, if you go back, I'm just gonna flip back to the game here real quick. If you put a Warp Prism with a Dark Shrine, there's literally nothing in this main base besides these 2 Spore Crawlers. You could take out the hatch, you could take out the spawning pool. Granted, he's not mining from here much anymore, but still, that's something rather than just continuing down the path of making more and more Colossus. And this the third base here, which he didn't seem to know about, you know, having some observers around to see what's going on, but I just, as a Protoss player, that felt insanely awkward to me.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, what are you going to do? You know, it seemed like a very polished build from Hayata. Really fun to watch, actually. Just a huge number of Locusts moving in. You know, it's hard to deal with when you're at that kind of number. But I think you're right. If Protoss had made a few Dark Templar, that would have been bad news bears.